Hi, welcome back. Today we are working on spiral fascial lines. Now your spiral fascial lines, as you might gather from the name, are responsible for the rotation of your body and especially of your thoracic rotation of your spine. They're also responsible for helping to keep your body in balance and stable as you're rotating so that you do not fall into what's called a rotational collapse, which is where you rotate and collapse your spine at the same time as you're rotating. So your spiral lines, if you think about a double helix, form around your body in that way. They start at the base of your skull, wrap to your shoulders, cross your body, and then wrap down both of your legs, underneath your foot, and back up your legs to meet posteriorly and wrap again, cross each other behind your back. All of that creates that stability and balance. Because we usually have a right or a left dominant side, these spiral lines are very, very rarely in balance. So as we go through class today, you may really notice a difference between your right and left side. Know that that's totally normal, but it's also something that working through this mobility challenge will help start to balance out in your body. So let's start in a tabletop. Take a little bit of breath here. Engaging your transverse abdomen, much like we did yesterday in your back line sequence, pressing your core up towards your spine. Start to take your left hand to the base of your skull. And just finding a little bit of rotation in your spine by lifting your torso upward, rotating and looking up towards the ceiling just a little bit. And then finding a little more rotation, drop your elbow down towards your thumb. Finding that rotation up again and dropping down. Really think about just moving through the middle of your back here. Your hand on your head helps to not exaggerate through the shoulders and just let this rotation be fully in your spine. One more just like this. And this one, come up, let go of your head, reach up towards the ceiling, keeping your arm right in line with your torso. And this time we're going to reach all the way down and through to the other side, kind of like you're threading the needle. Don't let your shoulder drop onto the floor, however. And then reach back up with your inhale. And through on your exhale. One more of those. Up. And through. Come back up to tabletop. Settle here and take your right hand behind your head to begin the other side. Lifting up towards the ceiling, opening up, and then dropping elbow to thumb. Up and open. You might already be feeling if there's any imbalance, if this feels different than the other side. Dropping to your thumb. One more. And down. This time lifting up, opening your arm. And sliding all the way through into that twist. Keeping your core strong, staying away from the mat. Reaching back up. And back up. Last one. And back into tabletop. Stay here just for a moment in your tabletop. And then scooting back onto your knees, standing all the way up. Taking a pyramid position, a little differently than we usually do, still about hip width apart. Place your hands on your hips. And brace your foot directly into the mat. Think about the three corners of what we call your foot triangle. Your heel pushing into the floor, and then the ball mount of your big toe and the ball mount of your pinky toe pushing down into the floor. Take your hands to your hips and rotate your torso just slightly towards the right. Feel where you hit resistance. And as you're doing this, think about lifting through the arch of your front foot, of your right foot. Lifting through your arch just gives a little bit of rotation to your leg as well as you're turning towards the right side. And just staying here and breathing here. And what you're feeling down your leg is your spiral line moving through your leg, connecting your heel all the way up through your torso, through your chest. Taking a few more deep breaths. And back to center with this exhale. Just switching sides here. Finding the same rotation on the left side. Left foot forward, ground through your foot triangle. Hands to your hips. Think about rotating your torso first. This tall spine, tall rotation. And then lifting up through the arch of your foot, allowing your leg to rotate just a little bit as well into this line. A lot of the times in yoga class, we're working just on rotation of your spine. We do a lot of crescent twists. We're working on active twisting in that way, chair twists, that sort of thing. But we're not taking an active twist through the entire spiral line, which goes from the shoulders all the way down through the heel. And come back into center. Come back down onto your knees. Now this class, a little bit differently from the other classes that we've done so far, we're really doing a lot of, you might call it passive stretching. It's really not. We're being pretty active here, but stretching on our bellies. Okay, so bringing your arms out into a T. Bring your forehead down to the floor. As we go through these exercises, you might choose to take one cheek to the floor, which is fine. Go ahead, lift up your left leg, flex your foot. Keeping your leg really nice and long, start to move it back behind you to the other side of your body. Keep both hands grounded into that T. Your leg is still long. Taking this little rotation here. Your forehead could still be on the floor. If you'd like a little bit more, you could rest your left cheek on the floor. A little less, rest your right cheek on the floor. So pressing into your leg. And coming back into center. Taking that same thing on the other side, lift your right leg up, flex through your foot, and start to drop it over towards the left side of your body. And lifting your leg up, sending it the other way behind you. It's not on the ground, it's slightly lifted. That's why this pose is active, even though we're laying down. Couple more breaths here. And back into center. And this time, lifting up your left leg, bending your knee. Reach around with your right hand and grab onto your left foot, excuse me. Now, if you can't quite reach your foot here, it's fine to grab a strap. Might be really helpful, especially if you're a little tighter. Now we're doing the same thing here, letting the leg drop over to the other side of the body, just now adding in that extra rotation of the leg with this bind. And pulling across the spiral line, through the hip, down the leg. Couple more breaths here. You decide on the placement of your head. Staying here for another 3, 2, and 1. Release, coming back into center. Sending your right foot up, bend your knee, grab your foot with your left hand this time, and rolling over onto the left hand side. Pressing your leg out again, right arm is still long if possible. And see if you can activate your bottom leg just a little bit. If it's just kind of hanging out there, maybe you push through your heel. Really pressing into your top hand. And staying for 3, 2, and 1. Come back to center, releasing. Wonderful. Stay right here. This time, lift your left leg up. Reach around with your right hand, grabbing onto the top of your foot and coming into just a little half sphinx pose with your left arm. It might be crossed in front of you, just resting on your forearm a little bit so that you're not having to actively pull your back up. You're using your arm for a little bit of leverage here. I'm taking a little bend. If you have it in your right elbow, you might just be right here, right where you started, right where you grabbed your foot, and be feeling a lot of sensation. If you are, that's okay. Stay right there. If you need a little bit more, start to press your foot in toward your glute. It won't be straight in. It'll be crossing a little bit towards your left side body, right side body. When we're twisting like this, getting the sides correct is a little extra difficult. Staying with breath. Feeling the rotation that's happening in your torso, the length that's happening through your hip flexor into your leg. Staying here, steady breath. Think of your last couple of days of practice as practice for this breath, being able to stay here. For another 3, 2, and 1. Release your foot, come back into center. You balance yourself out just for a moment, then start to switch onto your right foot lifts. Left hand reaches back and around, finding just that little twist of your torso, propping yourself up onto your right arm and pushing your foot down towards you as you spiral up. Taking those deep breaths. Maybe with every exhale, you engage through your core. You might find that supports your spiral line just a little bit more. It enables you to twist open. And if you have a strap, you might really be pulling on your strap here. I'm pushing my foot down. Depends on where you are in this pose. Another 3, 2, and 1. Release. Start to sit back, take a little bit of a child's pose. Take your right arm out to the side. We're threading the needle here underneath your left arm, but you are sitting back towards that child's pose here. If you'd like just a little bit more, you might take your left arm and reach up towards the ceiling. Once again, just finding that rotation through your torso. And you may even be feeling a little bit down your arm lines as well, even though this class is not about your arm lines today. They are certainly involved here. Take another couple of breaths. And come all the way down. Unwind yourself nice and slowly. Send your left arm up and threading the needle on this side. One of the things that I really do love about the spiral lines, and I know I mentioned it before, is this idea of not being symmetrical. We are not symmetrical beings, and then we also end up with the dominant side. And so things like this can feel so different on one side to another. And, you know, we talk about curiosity in poses and really exploring poses, and things like twists can really emphasize the need to be curious, because especially in a twist, if we assume that one side is going to be equal to the other side, then we're going to be in for a load of disappointment, because it's simply not the way that our bodies are working. And you really notice that here if you're paying attention. And bring your top arm down, unwind yourself back in towards a tabletop. Walking your hands back towards your knees, come all the way up to standing again. And once again, stepping your right foot forward into that pyramid pose. Placing your hands right on your hips. We're taking that same twist that we did before, finding the triangle of your foot, engaging through your core, twisting your torso, your shoulders towards the right side. And then really lifting up in the arch of your right foot, your front foot. Feeling the line all the way up and down through the outside of your right leg. And I really suggest keeping your hands on your hips or your shoulders here. Sometimes when we open the arms, we have this tendency to think that our hands are the things that are twisting, and we forget about the torso and just try to make our hands go in all of these wonky directions. And one more inhale here. Exhale really fully into your twist. And then come all the way out, unwind yourself, switch your legs. It's nice to do poses like this twice, even though they seem really simple. When we've had the extra twisting and rotation in between, you can feel a lot different on the second time. So once again, hands to your hips or your shoulders. Start to twist through your torso, lifting up through your arch of your front foot. You might need to adjust just a little bit on the legs here, that's fine. And once again, twisting to this point where you're feeling the twist through your torso, but also all the way down your leg. Finding breath. Your abdominal breathing is your stabilizer here. 2 more. All the way back into center. Step your feet together. Start to come all the way down to the floor. And sitting down, we are taking our left foot forward into what I'll call a modified half pigeon. So speaking of curiosity, don't assume that the half pigeon we're doing today is the same as the hip pigeon you always do. It's going to be a little bit different. So this is what I like to call a 90-90 half pigeon. Take your left knee 90 degrees out or straight out from your hip, and then bend your left foot so that it's 90 degrees out from your knee and hip. Now your back leg is going to be similar to that, around 90-90. If it's more comfortable for you to straighten the leg longer, then that's great. If it's more comfortable for you to straighten the leg less, that's fine. We're really focused on this front leg here. So bringing your back leg out to where it's comfortable behind you, keeping that 90 degree in your front leg, and starting to come forward over your front leg. And just taking a moment or two of breath here. Take any adjustments that you need to make this work for your body. Again, if you find you need to bend or straighten the back leg more, or move your front foot a little bit more, move around. And once you are comfortable here, go ahead and take your right arm underneath your left. We're threading the needle in the opposite direction of the legs. Now, I find it particularly helpful to reach my left arm out. If you can rest your head down on the floor, go for it. If you have a block or a pillow that you'd like to rest your head on, that's fine too. We're just looking for this little rotation of the torso, working in the opposite rotation of the legs, making really this full spiral through your body. This is a great pose if you're failing in even a regular yoga class, like you need just a little bit more in your half pigeon. This will certainly give it to you at any time. What you're feeling in your hip is your spiral line wrapping down through your posterior side and down your leg. And breathing really deeply into that. Just a little while longer of breath. This is a little more holding than we've been doing, so if this is more holding than you're used to, I suggest just really breathing into it. Just notice if there's any panic, any worry in your brain about staying here too long, and just when that worry comes up, see if you can take one more breath into it. See if that worry is maybe a little bit of a liar. And start to release this, unwinding yourself first. Sitting back up, send your legs in front of you just to give them a little bit of a shake. Before you start to settle into the other side. And this time your right foot comes forward. Left leg back, setting up that 90-90 really mindfully first. And taking again that fold over your front leg. Not doing the thread the needle yet, just letting your body kind of settle in here, taking the adjustments that you need. And once you feel like your body has started to settle in, take your left arm underneath your right for your thread the needle. And again, just be really curious. I know on this side, for me, if I were to think that it should be the same as the right side, I'm just sorely disappointed because it's not. But if I'm just curious and think to myself, well, I haven't been here before and this is its own side and I have no expectations, then, that disappointment goes away, and disappointment it's really suffering. So if I can take away that suffering by just being curious and non-judgmental, then, well, that just makes the pose have so much more ease and so much more pleasure in it. A little while longer here, utilizing that breath. Start to unwind your way out. Swing your legs around to in front of you. Cross your right foot over your left knee. Give your right knee just a big hug here first, and then keeping your elbow either to the outside or bringing it to the inside of your leg. Take a little twist over towards the right. Your right hand is just there for stability behind you. Deep belly breathing right into that twist. And release, come back into center, switch sides. Giving that little hug first, then deciding on your arm placement. Few more breaths. Come back into center. Send both legs in front of you. Start to lie all the way down on your mat. Hug your right knee into your chest. Send your right leg straight up above you. Bring your arms out into a T and start to drop your right leg over your body, keeping your leg really active. Taking this as an active supine twist first. Your leg does not land down on the ground. It's still up. You're just twisting over to the best of your ability. Really shooting energy out through both of your heels. One more breath just like that. And then allow your knee to bend a little bit, your leg to collapse down into a passive supine twist. You could add a little bit more by gazing over towards your right fingertips, adding in the spiral line of your neck. And come back into center. Give your knee one more hug. And send it down to the floor. Draw your left leg in. Send your left leg tall. Energy through your heels, arms out to a T, and drop over into the right side. Once again, keeping this energy going, feeling that line all the way down through the outside of your leg. Remember, your spiral line goes down the outside of your leg and loops underneath your foot and comes back up the other side. So if you're even feeling this in the arch of your foot, I know I do, just noticing that that spiral line is all connected. One more breath. And bending your knee, relaxing into your supine twist. Come back up into center. Give your knee one last hug. Send your feet down to the mat, settling in for your Shavasana, your rest today. Taking as long as you need to here. Thank you for joining me for class today. I hope you're enjoying your journey so far. Bring your thumbs to your third eye. Honor yourself. Namaste.